What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Below Average Brothers podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and get some promos out of the way right now. We're gonna go ahead and put out our TikTok at Below Average Brothers, which Ross is slacking. We have no videos out yet, so he needs to pick that up. Our Twitter at Below Av Brothers at BELOWAV Brothers. We have a Facebook page now. I was getting a lot of questions and things like that, comments on my personal Facebook when I was posting them out, so I decided to go ahead and just make a Facebook page. And some of you guys, if you guys want to leave a comment, leave a question you want to be answered, anything like that, I'll look at it. We'll get to it here. We want to be very listener friendly. So if y'all ever have anything you want to say, go hit us out, go hit us up on social media, and we'll get back and we'll give our commentary on what we think we see. We also have a YouTube page, Below Average Brothers. Go give that a follow. I'm gonna give it over to Jax. He's got a promo for something else.
Yeah, huge shout out to Saucy Scotty on you can find him on all your socials for all your hot sauce needs at Saucy Scotty, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, absolute fire sauces. So go ahead and check him out.
Awesome. I have no idea who that is, but Jack says his sauce is fire, so I might have to try it sometime. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. College football, biggest game of the weekend, the Red River Shootout, highest scoring Red River Shootout in the history of the 117-year rivalry, 55-48. Spencer Rattler looked terrible for a half, and Caleb Williams comes in, and his Twitter name is Caleb Superman Williams, and he was Superman on Saturday afternoon. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Jax, what were your thoughts on OU? And as an OSU fan, what did that make you think? Because as an OU fan, it made me think OSU stands no chance.
Yeah. I was super excited to watch the first half at work, just pumped, as a Pope fan, real excited. Come home and watch the second half, and I'm sitting on the couch just slowly dosing my pants, watching Caleb Williams just go off. I mean, that offense looks completely different, and I think a lot of people would agree. With him at the helm, that's a completely different OU team. Completely different OU team. Like, I think we talked on it. We were texting during the game. I think they just play with a little more fire with Williams back
a little
there.
urgency.
It almost seems like, they play with a sense of urgency. And I think Caleb Williams is going to give Big 12 defensive coordinators nightmares after that performance. I mean, and we still got at least 3 more years of this kid, at least.
Yeah, that's the sad thing for Big 12 is this kid's coming. Honestly, you guys saying the sense of urgency and the fire, it reminded me of the scene from The Longest Yard where they just let Adam Sandler get sacked over and over again. That's honestly what it reminded me of, because all year long it's, man, OU's offensive line is terrible. Well, Caleb Williams stepped in and OU's offensive line wasn't so bad. And I was like, wow, we might have it. Ross, what'd you think?
Yeah, that game was insane for me as an OSU fan. Watching the first half, I'm thinking, dang, we got a chance, and then Caleb comes in, you're like, yeah, we ain't got no chance. The dude just, yeah, exactly. Never mind. Like, the dude just, I mean, it made the team just look like a completely different team. But Spencer, he looked awful. I mean, it was like deja vu, like the commentator said on ESPN, like, 2 picks or whatnot. It was insane. Like, the dude just makes boneheaded plays. But I want to talk about the running game. I mean, Texas got beat on essentially the same play. It was insane. But
inside
just a
zone
crazy
over over and over.
Oh no,
again.
I think Ross is referring to the trick.
No, I'm referring,
the fake pitch to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Kennedy Brooks. I mean, I thought until those 2 plays, to be honest, I didn't think he looked good. The stats looked good for him, but I thought he looked like he was running in mud compared to Bijan Robinson. I was kind of dogging him, to be honest. But, I mean, he made the game-winning play, so congrats to him.
Yeah, I think he also cemented himself as the back. The first couple weeks of the year, him and Eric Gray back and forth, who's the starting running back. I think Saturday night cemented him as the starter, and I think it also cemented Caleb Williams as the starter going forward for the Sooners. We're recording on a Tuesday night. As of Tuesday, Lincoln Riley is not named a starting quarterback, but rumors are Spencer Rattler did not go to practice. Caleb Williams was taking starter reps in practice. So that is a big deal that he is being seen as the starter right now. That is a huge deal. So but Kennedy Brooks is definitely going to be a menace, I think, from here on out. I think he's going to be a big deal. So I tweeted this on Saturday afternoon. Spencer Rattler can go ahead and file his transfer papers because he should never see the field as a Sooner again. Do y'all agree?
I completely agree.
I agree.
Completely
Yeah,
agree.
definitely.
And it's crazy because a year ago, that game a year ago was when Spencer Rattler, he gets benched. Mordecai, he plays, but he doesn't put on the performance that Caleb Williams does. Rattler comes back in, and he comes back and beats Texas in 4 overtimes, but he wasn't granted that amount of luck this year. When Caleb Williams came in, and I think he took the job over. And if Spencer Rattler ever starts for the Sooners at quarterback, I may be questioning my fandom because it's not deserved. Caleb Williams is obviously the better quarterback. And then maybe that's just from a fan, but what I seen on Saturday afternoon was Caleb Williams is for real and Spencer is not so much.
Yeah, I think it was Herbstreit that said it. Like last year's game, it felt like, Mordecai coming in, it was maybe just like for a 1 or 2 kind of possession thing or like drives, but this year it didn't feel that way. It felt like Williams was getting the job, taking it. Whereas last year it just didn't feel the same. Where I think Williams really had a just dominant game, and I don't think he'll lose that job from now on out.
I am so ready for Bedlam. Ross is going to cry like a baby. It's going to be so awesome. He cries every single year when OSU loses.
And it's not going to happen this year. I hate to tell you.
I think it's going to happen.
Not going to happen. It's not happening this year.
I think so. Second, well, in a lot of people's minds, the biggest game to us was OU Texas, obviously where we're at. But I think the biggest game in the country may have been Alabama losing to A&M 41-38. The game, I don't have much to say about it. They pretty much got beat everywhere, all around it, everywhere, every phase of the game. Texas A&M beat them. The nerves it takes to beat Alabama, game-winning field goal for that kid. That had to be. Yeah, I probably would have pissed myself.
Insane.
If I'm
the
being
gonads
honest.
on that kid. The gonads on him to step up and drill that. I mean,
no doubt about it. No doubt about
Big
it.
time.
He drained it. But I think the biggest storyline, at least to me, is that Alabama loses to a 2-loss Texas A&M, and they only drop to 5. I was talking about this in our little pre-meeting before the show, saying that if OU would have lost to Texas on Saturday, number 6 versus 21, I think OU drops out of the top 15. I think that, which Alabama is granted that, benefit of the doubt, but I still think it's crazy that Bama only dropped to 5. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I'd agree. But I mean, like we said, it's Alabama led by Nick Saban. So we'll see. I mean, I think it is. I think it's unfair. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with y'all. I mean, I think they should definitely be a little farther back than 5.
And the thing is I'm going to hit on this is, like, if you watch the game, Alabama, they really didn't look that good. Like, and they struggled, like, from throughout the entire game, they struggled with handling pressure. Like, I mean, A&M was bringing the house from the kickoff, and Alabama kind of just never picked up on it. I mean, Bryce Young had a hard time getting rid of it before he was hit. I'm sure he got hit a lot, and I mean, I feel like that's the first time I've ever seen that as a college football fan since I've watched Alabama's blocking scheme. Like, it was wild to see Alabama quarterback under that much pressure.
Also, to normally a 41-38 game, that's a Big 12 type game, not Alabama. They don't play games like that very often. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was A&M's backup, right? That guy hasn't started all year long.
No, Calzada, he started. He started.
Okay.
I don't think he was the day one starter though.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's what I heard, that he wasn't the day one starter, but he looked phenomenal at times against that Alabama defense that, everybody, they're always good. So every single year people come in thinking, man, that Alabama defense is good. I still think they're good, but they're not the next team we're going to talk about good, Georgia. Last week I called Georgia to beat Auburn by 6 touchdowns. Well, it wasn't quite 6, but it still wasn't close either. 34-10. The only lead Auburn ever had was 3-0, and it vanquished very fast. Georgia wins this one massively. They go to number 1 in the AP poll. They still look like the best team. It looks like there is a canyon between 1 and 2 right now.
Definitely. The only thing that I would say or ask y'all is, do y'all think Stetson Bennett should be the starter?
It's a great question. That's a great question. I think it's definitely. I think Kirby Smart's definitely going to think about it for sure. The way he's played in the last 2 games, he's handled himself well.
Yeah, and it's not Vanderbilt or Missouri that he's done it against. You know, he went and everybody thought Arkansas was a good team. You know, ranked 8th at the time. They lost again this week. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but everybody thought they were a good team, and then Auburn, you know, led by a really good defense and, you know, what people say to be a sometimes good quarterback, and we called him Bo Pick. So you obviously know what we think, but those are 2 huge wins, and he's making, you know, 70-yard dimes, not just dink and dunk. He's extending the football down the field. So yeah, I think that's a great question. I think um, Kirby Smart's definitely have to think about that one. Our another Big Ten undefeated team is Michigan. They go to Lincoln, beat Nebraska 32-29. I don't think this is very impressive. Nebraska, looking at it before the show, they're 1-3 in conference play and 3-4 in just overall. So this is, you know, Michigan hasn't been 6-0 in a long time. I feel like they've always dropped one before now, but they still have to play Michigan State, Ohio State. You know, y'all thinking Michigan's for real or no?
I would definitely
No,
say no.
no. I mean, led by Jim. I mean, what has Jim Harbaugh done? What has he done in his time in Michigan? I mean, who have they played too? So like that. I mean, I think that's why they're where they're at right now is because they haven't played anybody. Nebraska, like you said, you hit on it. They're not a good team. Next best win is maybe Wisconsin, also
Yeah,
not a good team. So we'll see when they play somebody. But as of right now, I'm not a believer.
Yeah, I can't say much more than that. I mean, Harbaugh, I don't think's been legit since day one. You know, haven't had very many impressive wins. But I don't think they're legit.
agreed. I think they're still on the fence, but we're gonna go to Arkansas, a team we talked about just a second ago. Their coach, as Jax stated about who'd you say had gonads earlier? Was that
A&M kicker. I
A&M
forget
kicker
his
has
name, but
gonads?
yeah.
Uh, Another man that has gonads is Sam Pittman. The head coach of Arkansas did not work out so well. They go for 2, 50-51 is the score. And they are 52-51 is the score at this time. They don't get it. They're going for the win. KJ Jefferson runs 10 yards backwards and basically throws it behind his back, is what it seems like. No chance to ever make it. What do y'all think of that? And what would you do in that situation?
I respect the call. I love
Yeah,
the
I do
call,
too.
actually.
I do
I
too.
think, I mean, go for the win. It's on the road too, right? Go for the win. Try to end it in regulation. I absolutely respect the call. I think the execution was awful. Like you said, what is KJ Jefferson doing in that time?
Yeah, I completely agree. I loved he that they did it. You know, that's awesome. I would go for 2 in almost every single situation like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Matt Corral, you know, another great game by him. Dude's launching it down the field. But I like the play call, as Jack said. I mean, I like the decision. I don't like the play call. I think they could have drawn something up better. But I don't think I think that confirms Arkansas is not legit.
I completely agree. That contender pretender from week 1, I think they are officially, if they hadn't already been, it's over for them. The biggest, highest ranking matchup of the day was number 3 Iowa at home against the 4th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. This game looked all Penn State for the most of the game. Sean Clifford goes down, and it's a complete whirlwind, complete 180. Backup comes in, and Iowa takes over. Not close from there, 23-20. And still, after watching this game, to me, I think it made Iowa look worse. You know, they
Yeah,
beat number 4, but I don't. They looked worse to me than what I thought coming in.
yeah. I mean, I was right, but at the end of the day, I couldn't have been more wrong. Like I said, I hadn't watched a whole lot of Hawkeye football coming into this game. The defense did look pretty good, but that offense with Petrus, I mean, that style of offense is never going to win any games, any big games for that matter. But I still think the defense is pretty good, but that's a very tough Big Ten. And I just don't think, like you said, I think that game changes your perspective on the Hawkeyes for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Penn State pulls it out if Clifford doesn't go down, but he did go down, and Iowa pulled it through. But we'll see in weeks to come if they're legit or not.
Yeah, completely agree. And it's nice to get turnovers and what they have 4 interceptions on the day or something. Iowa's defense,
Yeah, something like
a
that.
really high number, but you can't expect your defense to force 4 interceptions. So if you're relying on your defense to force 4 interceptions against a backup quarterback and you still barely win, I think that's a bad sign for the Hawkeyes. But we're going to give you a little update on we did, as Jack said, he picked that game right. So we're gonna go over the picks. We had our friend Johnny Downs on last week. We're gonna go over our college picks. I went 3-1 on the day with picking OU, Ole Miss, and Georgia as winners. Penn State, I picked to win, and they obviously lost. John did the exact same thing. Jax went 4-0 on the day, picked OU, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Iowa to win. And Ross sadly picked Texas, so he went 2-2 with losses with Texas and Penn State, and Ole Miss and Georgia were his winners on the day. But we're going to go ahead and get into our college football rankings in just a second. All right, like I said, we're going to go ahead and go over to the college football power rankings. Kind of not really power rankings, but our playoff picture and the first 2 out. So from 6-1, Jax, you lead us off.
I was torn at 6 because there's a lot of decent teams, but definitely a homer pick. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State Cowboys. I think, yeah. I mean, that defense is top 25 in all major defensive categories or statistics. So, that's definitely our rock. And if we can get any consistent offensive play, there's that.
I like it. Who you got at 5?
Coming in at 5, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Still a very good football team. Early loss to Oregon, so I think and it's pretty decent loss. Oregon's a pretty good football team. CJ Stroud's picking it up, so they're definitely a force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten.
Number 4,
the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Wow, moving them down.
Yeah, a rare drop after a top 5 win, but if you watch that game, they would have been blown out if Clifford plays. So, the defense is still pretty good, but the offense is just horrid. So that's why I have them dropping.
Number 3.
I have the Cincinnati Bearcats. We've all hit on it. Very weak conference. If they go undefeated, it's hard to leave them out. And I think the chances of them going undefeated are very likely unless they drop an unexpected one.
Number 2.
The Oklahoma Sooners. I hate to do it. I really do, man. But Caleb Williams,
Best pick of the day.
If he's the starter,
how about that?
That's the best offense in the country if he's the starter.
Completely agree. I love it. Who you got at 1? Obvious.
Georgia Bulldogs.
Go Dogs.
JT Daniels, Stetson Bennett, doesn't matter. Defense.
That's all that matters. Defense.
Exactly.
Right. We're going to roll into Ross's. Who you got? Number 6.
Number 6, I'm going to go with Jackson, another homer pick. I'm going to go OSU.
I like it.
Also, what?
Like Jack said, that defense is one of the best we've had in a while. But I really think it's just the weakness of the other undefeated teams above them right now. I don't like Michigan. I don't like Michigan State. Not a fan of Kentucky. I think our defense is pretty good. And if we have consistent offensive play, we'll be 6.
Number 5.
At number 5, I have the Ohio State University.
Yeah, it looks like we might have a lot of the same stuff going on here.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Like Jax was saying, CJ Stroud picking it up, Chris Olave, pretty good duo there. Consistently been good in the Big Ten. It's hard not to pick them.
Who you got at 4?
At number 4, I have Cincy.
Wow.
I don't see them moving for me at that 4 spot. They won't play anyone for the rest of the year, I don't think, besides SMU, but SMU is not even a contender in my opinion or anything. But yeah, I got Desmond Ritter and the Bearcats.
Who you got at 3?
At 3, I got the Oklahoma Sooners. After a great weekend, beating Texas, but like we said, we don't know who the starter is, and that's the reason they're my number 3.
Number 2.
Number 2, I got the Iowa Hawkeyes. And the only reason they're above the Oklahoma Sooners is, like I just said, they have not confirmed the starter. If Spencer Rattler continues to play for Oklahoma, then they'll continue to be left out of that conversation for me.
And number 1.
Number 1, I got Go Dogs, Georgia Bulldogs. Not much to say besides defense. Defense wins championships.
Yeah. Yep. Especially in football. All right, I'm going to go into mine. I have a different team at number 6. I have got Go Big Blue, the Michigan Wolverines. I don't think they're that good. I think they're a little bit better than Oklahoma State probably, but I was not putting Alabama in as a one loss. I was putting an undefeated team here, and I just seen Michigan as the lesser of evils between Michigan, Oklahoma State, Michigan State, Kentucky, like Ross said. So number 5, I've got the Ohio State Buckeyes. Man, they are creeping. They are creeping back into the picture. They look good. CJ Stroud, right back to form, looking really good right now. Number 4, I've got the Iowa Hawkeyes. Just like y'all said, top 5 win, but if you watch that game, you know that it's not going to last long. So I've got them at 4. Number 3, I've got the Cincinnati Bearcats. That win over Notre Dame, I think, sealed the deal. If they continue to stay unbeaten, they'll get in. If they don't, the whole thing's going to implode. We're going to be working on a new one. Number 2, I've got the Georgia Bulldogs.
The what?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Georgia Bulldogs at number 2. And with the best offense in the country and the best quarterback in the country at number 1, I've got the Oklahoma Sooners.
Oh my. After a half of football, we've seen Caleb Williams for a half of football.
That's all I need. That's all I need is a half.
But oh my god.
That's all I need is a half. But if Spencer Rattler comes out, I'm no longer a fan, and they're the worst team in football. How about that? But no, if I think truly, if Caleb Williams is playing quarterback, they have a chance to beat anybody in the country. Their defense is still terrible, but if Caleb Williams is playing quarterback, they have a chance.
I think, I like that. I don't like the pick because I still think Georgia's number 1 team, but also I think OU's offense with Caleb Williams, not with Spencer Rattler, but with Caleb Williams, fares up against that Georgia defense better than any other offense in the country because you have Kennedy Brooks had a massive day. Caleb Williams brings his legs into the factor, and
Caleb Williams actually threw it to Marvin Mims.
Yeah. He gets his receivers involved. He gets the playmakers involved. I like it.
All righty. Next up, the NFL. All righty. We're going to go almost a full week back here to last Thursday night, Rams Seahawks. There's one thing I didn't really watch much of this game because it's Thursday night football. Most of the time those games are bad. This one was an exception. The thing I want to talk about is I seen a man on a football field who I thought retired 10 years ago, Geno Smith. I honestly, my jaw hit the floor, and I think I might have pooped my pants when Geno Smith came into the game. Last time I heard, he was getting punched in the face by his teammates. So
True that.
I didn't know he was still playing in the league. I thought he still owed money to half the league. Honestly thought he might have been in jail at this point, but Geno Smith, just letting y'all know, Seattle Seahawks backup, looks like he's going to play for a while. Russell Wilson and that finger might keep him out for a while. So get used to seeing Geno Smith. How about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are right there with you. Not me, though, because I play a lot of Madden. So I knew Geno Smith was the backup for Seattle, but I mean, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't think Seattle's gonna fare well with him back there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if most football fans have heard of Geno Smith since his days at West Virginia. I mean, the dude was awful in New York, and after that, I didn't know if he was in the league or not. Not
There's
much
two
more said than
words you
that.
said there that are why he's awful. New York. He went to
Yeah.
the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets
Yeah,
will ruin
exactly.
anybody.
There are two graveyards in football: the Browns and the Jets. And the Jets,
Fair
I think,
enough.
might be worse right now, like graveyard wise. The Browns are on the
Oh,
way
yeah.
up with
Oh, yeah.
Baker Mayfield, but
Yeah, for sure.
the Jets, that's the end of your career. You sign a contract, you end your career right then.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up on the NFL slate, we had Packers, Bengals, great game. Joe Burrow plays this whole game, leaves the game with a throat contusion. I have no idea what that is. I heard today that it's a throat bruise, but maybe some internal bleeding there. I'm not sure exactly. All I know is Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase is one lethal combination. They are looking just like they did as members of the LSU Tigers. I watched a lot of that game because I have Jamar Chase in my fantasy team, and that's the only reason. But man, oh man, they look good.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
love to see that connection. I mean, after Jamar Chase couldn't see the footballs in preseason because the old white line incident with him not knowing that, or not knowing, or I guess just not understanding that there wasn't white lines in the NFL. But you love to see it. I seen that Aaron Rodgers had a conversation with Joe Burrow, just telling him to get down and slide because he's one special player. But I think Joe Burrow could be an Aaron Rodgers type caliber quarterback in the years to come, and maybe have the Bengals give him a chance in the future. But we'll see.
Yeah, I seen somebody. I don't know exactly who it was, either Booger McFarland or Marcus Spears. I think it might have been Marcus Spears said that Joe Burrow and his will to win is the closest thing he's seen since Tom Brady. I don't know
Yeah.
how
It
true
was
I'd say
Spears.
that.
It was Spears that
It
said
was
it. But yeah.
Spears. Yeah, he said that Joe Burrow and his will to win and just leading his team to victory is the closest he's seen to Tom Brady. And I do. They lost this game because the kickers are incompetent, and I think they should be out of the league. We should no longer kick in the NFL. It should be you receive it at the 25. There are no field goals. You go for it on fourth down, and you don't punt. But that's my interpretation of the NFL. So that game, what was it? I think 5 missed field goals in a row.
Yeah, it was 5. I believe
5 in a
so,
row.
5.
I think this week was the most missed PATs in NFL history. Something like that. It was like 14 missed extra
And
points.
I get they moved the PAT back, but you have one job as a kicker.
Yeah, I mean,
One. Like, and I get, I'm not
I've never
saying
understood
I
it.
could do it, but you're being paid millions of dollars, most of these people, to have one job, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
I know any other employer, you're probably getting fired.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to probably the best game of the day coming off of that. Another one of those missed PATs was right here in this Chargers-Browns game with a chance to tie it up and not have to go for 2. But the Chargers missed a PAT, ended up having to go for 2. It didn't matter. They got it. They beat the Browns 47-42. I don't know if you guys have watched much Chargers football this year, but I've watched a lot of it. And Brandon Staley has some of the most – he is just – I don't even know how to describe it except for saying he's got the biggest nuts in the league. The dude goes for it on fourth down. It feels like 75% of the time. But when you have Justin Herbert, why not?
Yeah.
Dude's a stud.
Offense
if
is
it's
loaded.
4th and 5, 4th and 6, I feel like that guy can go give me 5 or 6 yards every play he wants. Why not go for it? And it's worked out for him. They beat the Chiefs going for it on 4th and 7 from their own 25 when they could have kicked a field goal to take the lead. They went and scored a touchdown. Once again on Sunday, they could have kicked multiple field goals, but they just say, nah, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to just shove it down your throat. We're going to go win this game. At one point, they went for it on 4th and 9 from their own 25. Who does that?
Yeah.
Their own 25. That's insane. But I think the Browns still a good football team. Jadeveon Clowney didn't play, lost their third. They already had their 2 starting corners out. They lose Greedy Williams in this game. So I wouldn't count the Browns out. The Chargers are a very good football team. This loss for the Browns is not a big deal. I think they probably still win the North more than likely. But that was just a great back and forth. I mean, 47-42 is not an NFL score very often.
Yeah, for sure. I like you were hitting on going for it on 4th, like we were just saying in the previous segment. Like the kicker play, I mean, this week was awful. So why not? Why not go for it and
Yeah,
give your
exactly.
offense a chance? So I love the calls. I love it. Maybe it changes. Maybe it revolutionizes how to.
Yeah,
Wow.
you got it right. Revolutionize the game.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. In the NFL, maybe we'll see a little bit more ballsy calls. I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, you can have more balls calls when you got, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, those type of guys. I mean, when you got just playmakers on the outside, you can go for it whenever you want.
Yeah, and the sad thing is one of those fourth down calls was a drag route to Jared Cook that he took 30 yards. Like how Jared Cook's 87 years old. That's just the way it is when you got a quarterback like that. That it's just when you got a quarterback like that, he makes plays even if they are the 94-year-old Jared Cook. Next up, we have who we all had as the number one team in our power rankings. All three of us and John last week. We all had the Cardinals. They did not look very solid this week. I watched this game because Kyler Murray's my fantasy quarterback, and I just enjoy watching the Cardinals because I like watching Kyler Murray. But all I heard from the second quarter on was that Kyler was hurt. He was dealing with an arm issue. Every single possession that the 49ers had, he was getting worked on. And you could see it late. He throws a deep ball to DeAndre Hopkins that's underthrown by about 5 or 6 yards, but DeAndre Hopkins has the awareness to come back and get it. But 2 plays later, he throws a dime over the top to D-Hop again for the touchdown to really put it away. But I would have thought with Trey Lance making his first start, I'd have thought the Cardinals would have won this game fairly big.
I think it was kind of a situation where, just playing down to the competition for sure. And also, like you said, hitting on the Kyler injury for sure. I'm sure that had a little bit to do with it. But I mean, I still think the Cardinals are a very, very good football team. I think they may have just, kind of taken a week off to an extent.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off Jack's here. Yeah, I think Arizona's still legit. I think Kyler makes that team run. So when he's not, 100%, I think it, might hurt the rest of the team. But I think they're still legit, and I think they're still the best team in the NFL.
One of our favorite players also went down injured in this game, Max with 2 X's. Hopefully he gets healed up pretty fast because I think he's also a big part of that offense. Another one of those quarterbacks that are best in the league, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen battled on Sunday night. And Patrick Mahomes looked, for a lack of better words, awful. 2 picks and a lost fumble in a 38-20 loss at home to the Bills. I picked it, by the way, just letting y'all know. Don't forget. Man, Josh, a lot of the things about the Bills were they weren't playing nobody, but they went into Kansas City and gave them a beating, just beat the brakes off of them for 4 straight quarters. And Josh Allen looked phenomenal. Mahomes did not. I've got thoughts of, Mahomes is obviously a good quarterback, but what's going to happen when he loses Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? Is he still the same guy when you lose those weapons?
I think it's a situation where Mahomes is trying to do his best Superman impression.
Oh,
That
definitely.
defense, if you look at the statistics for that defense, they're terrible. Second worst against the rush. I think last in the NFL against the pass. Honey Badger's a dog. But other than that, I mean, that
But have
defense
you
just
seen the
played
pictures of him
terrible.
looking at Daniel Sorensen getting beat, where he just throws his arms up in the air?
Yeah,
There's like
Sorensen's horrid.
there's like 4 or 5 pictures this year alone where Sorensen's beat by like 20 yards, and Tyrann Matthews got his hands up in the air, just like, what can I do?
Yeah,
When this guy's
you're
getting beat.
You're telling me you can't find somebody better than Daniel Sorensen? That's my question. Is
It's embarrassing.
there's someone in that free agency pool that is better than Daniel Sorensen. He's not a good football player, and that defense is horrid. And I think Mahomes is trying to overcompensate, just trying to do too much because he's not going to come out and say it, but that defense is terrible. I mean, and I think he's just trying to do too much.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the dude threw it 54 times, and that Bills defense is legit. So, I mean, when you're throwing it, it's pretty easy to cover. But we'll see if they can come back. I think Andy Reid will get his troops rallied back together, but Patrick Mahomes isn't looking very good. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I think especially like Jack said, especially last night with the whole Superman thing, he knows he's got to score because Josh Allen is going to score.
Yeah.
Like against worse teams, he looks a little bit better because he's not playing with such a high sense of, oh, I've got to score. I've got to score every possession or we're going to lose. But last night or Sunday night. I feel like it's Monday, but Sunday night, Buffalo came out and said, "Yeah, I think we're the best team in the AFC." So watch out. Watch out for the Bills, man. They're legit. But that's it for us, guys. That's all we've got for tonight. We should be back on Thursday or Friday, but until then, go follow, subscribe, like, rate, review, download, whatever you do with a podcast nowadays. Go give us a 5-star rating. Go give us a review. We can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, pretty much wherever you find a podcast, we are there. Also, follow us on TikTok at Below Average Brothers, on Twitter at Below Av Brothers, at BELOWAV Brothers, Facebook page Below Average Brothers. Once again, go out there, give us a question, give us your opinion. We'll react. We're going to love that once that really gets going. We've got a website in the work. I will give that out once it's completely done. But also YouTube, we post every single our actual our visual, not just the audio, but everything. You can see our facial expressions, all of that on our YouTube full episodes. So y'all have a great night and good night, everybody.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.